Okay. Happy Thursday. I hope everybody is having a fabulous week. Tonight, I wanted to talk about something that I am 1000% sure applies to all of us in some way, shape, or form. It still applies to me 2.5 years into coaching. It applied to me on day one of coaching and every day in the middle. And so I want you guys to have a really open mind about this call in the sense of I am aware that we all have different goals and different reasons why we're coaching. And so if you hear me at all be a little more biased towards like full-time versus part-time or my reasons for coaching versus yours, please just insert your own goal and your own reason into what I'm talking about, if that makes sense. I don't want you to think that this only applies to people who want to be full-time coaches, or that this only applies to people who want to be coaches for the reasons that I coach, but that this applies to all of you and your own individual goals and reasons. So this is a good night to have a notepad out simply for like creative purposes and brainstorming and taking some notes. So if you want to whip out your phone or a notepad and just kind of like, as I talk, write down ideas and things that pop into your mind. So everybody is on this call because they are signed up as a coach. So you might be here because you wanted the discount and you're just checking out maybe what options there are for bringing in some sort of an income. Or maybe you are here because you would just like a part-time gig, something to help with groceries, or, you know, your nail salon appointments or whatever it might be. Or maybe you're here because you're looking to replace a full-time paycheck, or you have big goals and dreams for this business and your family. We all are on different ends of the spectrum here. So I want you to define your why, and that can be, this is something that we should be doing for our health and fitness journey, and then it also translates over to our coaching business. So like, why are you here tonight on a Thursday night at 8:30 instead of watching Netflix? Why are you sitting on this call listening to me talk instead of, you know, hanging with your hubby or being, you know, with your kids or your friends or whatever? What is it that is driving you to sit on this call right now? Is it, you know, that you're here for the community? Are you coaching for, you know, the financial benefits? It doesn't have to be one reason. I want you to write down all the reasons that you're here right now, because you are all sacrificing your time to be here. And so that means you have a reason, you have a why, you have a purpose as to why you want to be coaching. And so really just be like brainstorming that. And it can be as simple as I want to help pay for groceries, or as big of a dream as, you know, like I want to do this full time. I want to add, you know, a full-time income to our family, etc. So I'll give you a few minutes to write that down. You can include tangible goals on that list. Okay. Now, this is going to be maybe the hard part for some of you. It's really easy to say like goals and dreams and what we want to do with this business. But I want you to really dig deep here, because there is something holding all of you back. There is something holding each and every one of you back from doing something, whether that be inviting your friend or sharing on your social media, or reaching out to the girls in your challenge group to see if they want to coach. There is something holding you back. And that something could be that you are afraid of what they think, that you don't want to sound salesy, that you don't want to sound icky, that maybe you have had a bad experience with an MLM before and you don't want to come across in that way. Maybe you don't want to seem, maybe money's really awkward for you and you don't want to seem weird about that stuff. Maybe you feel like you aren't fit enough. Maybe you feel like you don't have the time, so how can you ask other people to put the time in? Whatever that is, like, what is it that's stopping you? When you go to share on your social media about coaching, why don't you hit submit? Why is it that you go days on end without sharing? Or maybe you are sharing surface level, or maybe your sharing is on point and you share every day, but maybe you're really struggling to invite. Why won't you invite people? What is it that is holding you back from inviting other people? And if you guys want to, you can even type these things in the chat, because I guarantee if you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it. So if you just want to share, like, what is that holds you back? I know for me, I am a major people pleaser and I want everybody to like me. And so I have always struggled with wanting to please everybody, and we can't please everybody, right? That's just not possible. Fear of judgment, imposter syndrome, lack of self-discipline. And often that is fueled by a fear of something. Often the reason we don't sit down and make ourselves do it is because of something. Like that you said, imposter syndrome, Sam. I definitely have felt that before. Like, I'm not in any place to be sharing this with other people. I've definitely been there before. Time. Not having the time. Fear of rejection and judgment. Been there. Still there some days. A response you got when you invited somebody. So, okay, let's speak to how we can move forward with these, because these fears aren't necessarily going to go away. I will say, I do believe a lot of them, they kind of like ease up, they get a little easier. You feel a little more comfortable in your own skin and what you're doing the longer you're doing it. And that's just normal part of life, right? You start a job day one, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so out of my comfort zone. And then, you know, as the weeks go by, you start to get a little more comfortable, a little more confident. And so as you learn, as you grow, as you stay consistent, you are going to see that it's not as scary as it once was. However, there's always going to be a fear of some sort and always going to be something holding you back. And so I wanted to talk tonight about how to kind of like move forward from those. And the reason the very first thing that I asked you guys to do was to define your why and define your goals is because I'm going to close the chat because it'll distract me. So I'll read those later. The reason why I asked you to define your why and to define your goals first is because if you do not know why you're doing this, and if you do not have a goal that you are working towards, nothing is going to get you past that fear. If you're sitting in front of me and you're like, I don't know why I'm coaching, I don't really have any goals, I don't really know why I'm here, then I can't help you any further. Because if you don't have like some kind of drive in this business, then there's not going to be anything to help push you past that fear. And so if that's you, for some reason, if you're sitting here and you're like, oh man, I don't really feel like I have a goal or like I have a reason why I want to be here, doesn't mean you can't come up with one, doesn't mean you can't dig deeper, but maybe that's something you need to reach out to your upline about, whoever signed you up, whether it was me or Rach or Mo or Allison or Noelle, whoever signed you up, you need to reach out to them and say, hey, can we talk a little bit more? I want to find like some reasonable goals for myself and for this business so that I have something to work towards. But otherwise, if you have your reason why you're here and you have your goals, then you have a purpose for pushing past these fears. So I'm going to give you a couple of tools that you can use to push past them. And number one is always going back to your why. Always, always. It's going to drive you past the fear, but more so than that, we say this all the time, personal development and watching trainings for a couple of things. One, it is going to help build your confidence, you guys. Watching trainings is going to help you feel more confident in what you're doing because you're going to be learning about this business and growing in this business. And it doesn't matter how long you've been coaching, trainings are so important because, first of all, this business is always changing. Tactics in this business are always changing, just like anything else in the world. And so trainings are so important to learning and growing in this business and building that confidence that says, I know, it takes away that imposter syndrome that Sam was talking about. It like tells you like, no, I am here for a reason. I know what I'm doing. I know what I have to offer. So trainings are huge for that. And reading personal development, you guys, first of all, it's going to kind of help ground you as a leader and as a businesswoman, as an encourager, and it's going to continue to build that confidence in who you are as a person and what you have to offer. And at the end of the day, I just want you guys to know, like, you can find your worth in the Lord. Like, we are not looking for approval of other people. And that should be something alone to help you through those fear of what other people are thinking. But my biggest tips to you are to be reading personal development. If you don't know where to start with personal development, first of all, you're going to hear this a million times over, but if you struggle to find time, listen to them on audiobook. You can listen to them while you're brushing your teeth. You can listen to them while you're driving in the car, while you're going on a walk with your kids. Like, there's so many times that during the day when you're doing dishes, there's so many times during the day that we can just stick ear pods in our ear and listen to personal development, and it's not going to take away from other things we're doing. And so podcasts are great. She's Here for It is by Abby Kappa is a great podcast. Melanie Mitro's podcast is an excellent podcast to be learning about the Beachbody business. You can listen to the National Wake Up Calls on the podcast app. So if you aren't able to get on the Monday night or the Monday morning National Wake Up Calls, there's a podcast for that. And then also just using Audible or other audiobooks to listen to books. So some good books would be The 5-Second Rule, Eat the Frog, I think is what it's called, The Compound Effect. I am currently reading, what am I reading, Mo? Mo, help me out. Oh my gosh. I'm reading Jenny Allen's book, Get Out of Your Head, I think it's called. And that's really helpful for me. And it's more speaking to like anxiety and those things, but that helps with worrying about what other people are thinking. And like I said, watching trainings, if you are in the Beatnik Dynasty page, there are a million trainings in there. Live Free has a lot of trainings, and the Beachbody Champions page, if you are not in that Facebook page, that is an excellent page for trainings. I can add you to it, or your upline coach can add you to it. It's really easy, and there's so many trainings in there. Something I want to speak to on trainings with Beachbody trainings in particular, they're not all going to be your jam. Like, there are so many personalities in this business. There are so many people in this business, and they are not all going to be somebody that you necessarily vibe with or align with, and that's okay. I think it's important to glean from trainings and throw the rest that doesn't apply to us out, and just know that there's different personalities and different styles in this business, and that doesn't mean we can't learn from them, but that also doesn't mean we have to like take everything that everybody says as gospel in this business, right? And just remembering why you're doing something. So if you are feeling icky when you're sending your invites, then that tells me that you probably are sounding icky. Like maybe you need to look back and read over your invites and say, this doesn't sound like me. I could change this up. And another reason you might feel icky sending invites is if you are not doing your own workouts or eating well yourself and you're kind of selling something that you're not doing yourself. And that's not really going to help. So another thing I would go back to is making sure that you are constantly working on yourself first, making sure you are doing your own workouts. They are going to, first of all, make you feel better. They're going to help your mental health. But if you are doing the workouts and you are following the nutrition plan and you are getting results yourself, it's not going to feel weird to invite people because you are going to feel excited about inviting people to something that works. Whereas if you're not following it and you're not doing it, then it might feel icky because it is kind of icky to sell something that you're not actually using yourself. Same thing about products. If you have not tried a product or tried a product that you loved, like try something else. If you don't love Shakeology, try the pre and post workout. I have yet to find someone that doesn't love Energize. So try Energize if you haven't tried Energize. Like you don't have to love all of the products that Beachbody offers, but you need to find something. Like if there's literally nothing in this business that you were excited about, then yeah, you're going to feel icky selling because that's icky. So I would just make sure that like if you're feeling like, I don't know if like this is for me. I don't know if I can be inviting people to this. Like, okay, well, take a step back. Let's look at what we're doing. How are we spending our day? How are we spending our free time? What are we doing to fuel our body well and take care of it? And if you're not doing any of those things, if you're not reading PD, if you're not working out regularly, if you're not eating well, if you're not, using the products that you're promoting, then yeah, it's going to feel icky. And so that is always my number one question when somebody comes to me and says, like, I feel really icky inviting or sending this. My first question is, how are you doing as you say? They say, make sure that you are walking the walk and talking the talk, or not just talking the talk. And so make sure you're walking the walk. And if you're walking the walk and you're still feeling icky, then yeah, let's talk about maybe that is a limiting belief that you have that could be buried way deep down and you're not even really realizing it. If you feel like, a lot of times I like to ask the question when somebody says that they feel, like a salesperson, or I saw Sam, you said like opportunistic, or when somebody says something like that about inviting, I always ask like, okay, did you feel that way when I invited you? Do you feel that way about the way that I promote things or the way that you see other coaches promote things? And almost always, I mean, at least to my face, everyone says, no, of course not. And so honestly, I think that sometimes we allow our own fears and our own lack of confidence to make us feel like what we're doing is wrong or icky or going to offend somebody, when really we haven't been offended by it. So why would somebody else be offended by it? Right? And so if you are doing things in a similar fashion and doing things in a right fashion, then there is no reason to feel that way. And sometimes we just have to push past those lies that we tell ourselves of like, I shouldn't be doing this, I shouldn't be sharing this, and figure out why we feel that way. Because worrying about what other people think, oftentimes, you guys, they're not even thinking about us. We are thinking about us way more than anybody else is thinking about us. And so worrying that other people are thinking a certain thing when they're most likely not is something that we need to be able to push past in this business. Okay, I'm gonna look at the comments. Does anybody have any like questions or specific things that they want to like talk through about inviting or sharing on their social media? Sam, when somebody says that they already do Beachbody, I usually just say, oh my gosh, that's so fun. Do you already have a coach? And if they say no, or I've never, so like everybody has a coach through Beachbody, but some people sign up on the website and never get connected with their coach. So, right. So some people have no idea they have a coach, or their coach is not working the business actively or has never reached out to them, and they're not connected and they're not in an accountability group, and they don't have that community, which honestly I think is like one of the biggest parts of this, that honestly one of the biggest things that makes this work is the accountability and the community that holds you to sticking to your workouts. So I just say like, oh, that's so fun. Are you connected with your coach? And a lot of times those people will say, no, I don't have a coach, or no, I'm not connected with them, or they used to have a group a year ago, but they haven't run one in a year, or something like that. And then I just say, like, if you're not connected to your coach, if you're no longer in contact with your coach, you can switch to me. I always make sure I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. So if somebody is in a group or in an active relationship, like with their coach, then I say, that's so fun, like stick with them and enjoy. But if they have no idea who their coach is, or have never talked to their coach, or their coach kind of like fell off the wagon with the business and doesn't really do it anymore, then I let them switch to me. And Sierra actually just posted in Live Free. There is a new structure to the coach change form. So the customer has to do it on their own, but she posted a step-by-step on how to do that. So I can find it and put it in our page if you guys want. Yeah. I don't think that you're going to upset anyone if you word it in the right way. You know what I mean? So if you're just saying to someone like, that's awesome, are you set up with a coach? That's just asking a question. Like, how is that going to upset anybody? If the person already does Beachbody, when they switch to them, it won't benefit them in the sense of they won't receive past commissions. However, anything that they purchase after that will be their commission. So you kind of lose out on that initial commission in the sense of somebody else gained a commission on like their initial purchase, but after they have switched to you, any purchases they make will be your commission. Yes, you earn commission on Home Direct as long as they're not a coach. Any other questions on inviting or sharing to your social media, such as how often, what to share, who to invite, how to invite? Has everybody here shared that they are a coach on social media? Lindsay, why haven't you shared? Are you going to share? I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry. It's really awkward.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I've been posting stuff, but I haven't really been like, hey, everyone, I'm a coach. I've put like, if you're interested, like, let me know, like what I'm doing. But like, as Rachel knows, I coach at a CrossFit gym.
Okay.
And we're no longer technically CrossFit anymore. So I'm trying not to step on like one of my best friends, like she's the owner. So I'm not trying to step on her toes, but I really like what I'm doing with Beachbody too. So I'm just trying to be like neutral, I guess.
So is there like anything in a contract? There's nothing in a contract or anything, right? That's like stopping you from sharing?
No.
Okay.
But I don't want
like emotional, you don't want to hurt your friends' feelings.
Kind of, but then I was reading some stuff when I first joined up as the discount coach. that you can't use any other brand and that kind of thing. So I didn't know like if I was posting like CrossFit stuff or her gym stuff because I coach there.
No, you can't be part of another MLM, but CrossFit would not fall into that category.
What's
So,
MLM?
Multi-level marketing company. So
Okay, see.
you couldn't be a part of like, it's not that you couldn't be a part of it. Once you hit a certain rank in Beachbody, you can't work another business like Beauty Counter or Young Living. Like you can't do both once you hit a certain rank. So that's what that is about. It's the non-compete through Beachbody. And yeah, there is like, they don't want you like selling Herbalife because that would be like a competitor.
Right.
But CrossFit, like we have a lot of coaches who work with a gym or work with a personal trainer or under or teach classes or whatever and do Beachbody. As long as it's not in your contract with that gym, there should be no legal issue. But I get not wanting to hurt your friend's feelings. The only thing I would say though is that like it's just such a different group of people.
Yeah.
Like your target market for people who are going to go to a CrossFit gym versus people who are going to pay for Beachbody is so different. My brother works for a like strength training gym, similar to a style of CrossFit in the sense that it's like a community strength training group, personal training. And like, it's just so different from Beachbody that like, and we support each other in what we do. But it's so different that like, I don't even think we could compete. Like I could not bring his people over to Beachbody and they could not bring my Beachbody people over to them, because my people are not going to pay $80 a month for a gym and their people are not going to be content with at-home workouts for 20 minutes.
Right.
And so, it really is such a different market. So that's just something to keep in mind. And also just having like open and honest conversation with your friend too. Like I'm sure your friend wants to support you in the same way you want to support your friend.
Right. Thank you.
Of course. Okay. Amanda said, how do you invite people who like your post but don't express interest in joining you? When you say don't express interest, do you mean that they have not personally reached out to you or they've personally told you no? I see you typing. Oh, wait, you're in meeting. There you are.
Sorry, I'm just unmuting. I'm not a fast typer. When I type fast, things don't come out right. So both. So I have a couple friends who have like been like, oh, you're so inspiring, but have like said like, I don't do home workouts or I'm not into that or good for you. Like, but they don't really express like interest in like, what are you doing? Or, can I do that too? Or like I've had people who will like all my posts, but they don't comment, like they just like it. And I don't know if they're just like liking it because it's me or liking it because they like it, if that makes sense. Like, are they trying to be supportive or?
Right. So there's going to be both, right? Like I have people who love all my posts or comment on my posts and still have yet to join me and they just want to support me as a person. And then there's people who just like aren't going to flat out reach out to you or like they're just not in the right place to join. Like, and so when I invite, I'm pretty, like for the most part, I'm pretty upfront, especially if I'm inviting off a post or a story that was like very explicitly sharing what I do or sharing, because it's like, it's an easy way because they've read the post or they've seen the story and like, there's not much explanation that goes behind it. Just like, I already shared what I do. So I'll just say like, hey girl, thanks so much for your love on my post or for supporting me in this. I actually wanted to reach out to you and see if you were interested in joining us this month. If you're interested, I can send you some more details. No worries if not. Something like that, super casual, and just invite them. And if they say no, they say no. And I say, great, no worries. I'll check in with you next time. And if they say, yeah, send me more info, then I send them some more information and see where it goes. So it is always going to be a no if you don't ask. You are always going to hear the word no if you don't ask because you didn't ask. So that's kind of, if you just ask and they say no, like it's not going to ruin your day, you guys. Don't let it ruin your day. If someone says no, like No big deal. How many times have you like walked past the sample guy at the grocery store? Well, that's a bad example because most people would say yes to a sample. But okay, like say it's like a gross sample at the grocery store and they're like, "Do you want some blue cheese?" And you don't like blue cheese and you're like, "No, thank you." Do you think that person cares that you didn't take blue cheese? No. You weren't interested in blue cheese at the moment. So, like, don't worry about people who say no to you. They may not have the money to join you. They may just not be ready. They may feel like they may feel like they're drowning in their life and like they can't say yes to one more thing, even though we all know that health and fitness and like exercising and all those things are good for that. They may just feel like they aren't even at that place to say yes. And so for so many of you, think of how many times you said no. And usually that had nothing to do with the person who was asking you and everything to do with your own life and what you were going through at the time. And so when I hear the word no, I don't take it personally anymore. Like it's just it has nothing to do with me. Somebody saying no to me has nothing to do with me and what I have to offer. It has everything to do with what they're going through at the time, and that's okay. The times that I have taken it personally and thought to myself, "Oh my gosh, they don't like me," or whatever, it's actually hilarious how many times those people have ended up signing up, and then I found out like this part isn't hilarious, but like whatever they were going through. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I made that all about me. And if I had known what they were going through, I never for once would have thought it had anything to do with me. But the truth is, we don't know what people are going through. So allow people to say no to you. They're allowed to say no to you, and you're allowed to ask. And you asking in a friendly, hey, just wanted to see if you were interested in joining me, you guys, that's not going to offend somebody. And like speaking specifically to what Mo said about the person that it hurt their feelings, I don't know that specific situation. However, one couple things to this, and we're running out of time, so I need to kind of wrap it up, but a couple things to this. One, there have been so many times where I have thought a conversation went really, really horribly, and my husband was like, read it to me. And I read it to him, and like, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like they weren't actually that offended, or they weren't actually that upset, or they weren't, you know what I mean? So sometimes our brains let us be like, think it's really bad. Sometimes it is a bad response and a negative response. And again, a lot of times that negative response has more to do with their day and what they're going through. The times I think of that I have been like short or rude with somebody, it's been because of what I'm going through, not because of what they asked me. And again, it also is a time to reevaluate how you're messaging people. But if someone liked your post and you send them a message and say, hey, thanks so much for your support. I was actually wondering if you were interested in joining us this month. We have a couple spots open. No worries if not. Like who can get mad at that? There's really nothing to get mad at. And if they get mad at, that's on them. Okay. Yes, sample workouts are awesome. I always advertise sample workouts, particularly during a launch. You can send them through, so Vimeo. Lindsay, are you in the spring boot camp? Are you in my spring boot camp? So Rach, if you want to like show her how to get to, there's a whole section in the unit section for sample workouts. It has literally all the sample workouts except maybe not MBF. But if you type in like MBF sample workout Vimeo, it's going to pop up and it's a link you can send people. Okay. Anything else? We have like 4 minutes left. Also, to add to that, I think Lindsay is iPhone. Yeah, okay. To add to that, you can sign people up for the 3-month membership and it will not charge them until day 14. So they can try it for like a week, and I usually say like, try it for a week and a half, set an alarm in your phone to cancel, and you can cancel it when it will never charge you if you cancel it before the 14 days is up. And that's a good way for them to like try it out for a week or so. And I usually include that in my message because I'm not good at sending reminders to people. If I told everybody I could send them a reminder, I would never get anything else done in the day. So I usually say, set a reminder in your phone to cancel it before X, Y, and Z date. And that's a good way to like help everybody stay accountable. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Let's take a boomerang. Aw, thanks, Sam. You're great too. I'm so excited by how many people are on this call tonight. All right. Hi, Katie. We're getting off, but we're gonna take a boom first so you can be in it.
I've been on for a few minutes, but
Okay.
my video was off.
Okay, good. All right. All right, let's take a boom, everybody. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait, it wasn't a boomerang. I hate this new Instagram. Did everybody get the update where it changed to the side? Yeah. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, cute. All right, you guys, if you have any questions or think of anything else you want to chat through, reach out to me, reach out to your upline, drop a comment in the group page, whatever. Love you all. Hope you have a fabulous evening.
Bye.